Hello everyone. So I'm just quickly glancing for something and then we're gonna go. And I'm gonna wait till people get on to do the update a bit more. Just so people who are watching later on understand what's going on. And I'm quickly glancing for something while Mindy grabs her charger. I don't see the card in the...
What card? It's underneath my coat.
Okay. I wasn't positive, so... I did grab the charger though so that we have it. So it's kind of good I went to look to make sure. So, while I'm thinking of it, because I know Steph and Jen probably know this, there were assets to download today.
Yep.
So if you have not downloaded them, you might want to go check.
What? Exactly. What?
Broke a few ribs.
Both of them would cause that.
That would cause them not.
Which would drive me bats.
Drive anyone bats.
Well, because the elderly couples can't do as much online either. They don't have the knowledge and everything. Danny, if he was stuck inside, it wouldn't drive as bats as it would a elderly couple. So
Why is David calling me? Hello? I don't know.
What's he asking?
Yeah, I'll ask. David's wondering what's for dinner.
we're going to the food pantry.
Food pantry, so we'll decide from there.
We're going to the food pantry. We'll decide from there. Alright.
Can you ask him if we're not home in 4 hours if he can take Mizuki out?
If we're not home in 4 hours, can you take Mizuki out?
Oh, lovely. I went in the wrong direction.
Why he's saying that is there's construction in front of us. Doesn't look like it'll make a huge difference, but...
I just gotta let this car pass. And the next car and the next car.
But some of them may choose to stop and let you through. And it was only one car. I get it, Jen.
What?
She says, can't talk much at work. At least I know someone's watching. So, we'll go through a couple of things. One, Danny. We heard from the mission president today, and he said if any of them have special needs, etc., they need to know. So, I wrote to him.
A really long, extensive email.
Yeah, a really long email because I wanted them to understand his needs, but at the same time understand that sending him home might actually be worse than keeping him there for his health. Both mental and physical health. And so I listed some of the things that I think I listed here in a previous stream of why I'm actually glad he's there.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to carry this stuff in today because Steven's parked behind you.
Yeah. So there's that. And they did say in the email, right now they're asking them to conduct as many visits as they can remotely. They've had them download, and now I can't remember the name again. It's not Skype, but it's another teleconferencing app. So they have that they're meeting with people on. They are still meeting in person. They are giving them $75 to go buy emergency supplies.
Hurry up, Doug.
And they're going to give them a list of emergency supplies.
Not Doug,
That's
Dad.
not Doug. It just looked like his truck.
They are giving him a list of emergency supplies to buy from. But it's basically to be prepared if they get stuck inside for a while. So he was saying that transfers aren't this coming week, but the week after. I was telling my husband, with the fact they're doing that, they probably won't do transfers at all.
Oh,
Everyone
man.
will probably stay where they're at. So that means that much longer Danny will be in Oklahoma City, which is actually really good in his case. They do it remotely. So, but there's that. I do need, and they're actually saying it into the, basically they use other people's voices for over and cue those in with the video, rather than so that the people who speak different languages can hear it in their native language. And my brother-in-law is one of those. They get so people have to tell what they're going to give a copy of their talk early to to everyone in charge, so that the translations can be made ready, that they can be spoken fluently right along with the talk. So, but at the same time, they need people who know both languages so that they can know that they're staying pretty much up with the talk and not ending up off. So, there's that. I do want to bring up, because this is a confusion I've heard with U.S. stimulus package. Some people think that the bill that was passed today is the U.S. stimulus package that will put money in people's pockets. It was not. It is one that it says everyone has to provide sick leave for that they have if one of their people comes down with the coronavirus, they have to provide sick leave. And I can't tell if it's everyone or if it's just the government is providing extra sick leave, etc. I will admit that. But so there's sick leave, there's paid sick leave for government employees, there's a few things like that. Drat, didn't get in time.
What?
I was trying to jump in the fortress.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm not complaining.
I'm letting Mindy run before
I'm not
I
complaining.
go in.
Mindy, did you bring any masks with you? Did you bring a mask with you?
No. I'm just going in for...
Okay. I hope
There's
no
one
one's in
the
there.
pharmacy. The last time I saw the farmer went in, the pharmacy was completely empty.
Okay. Yeah, but you went in when
two farmers. I went in about this time.
Okay. I thought it was like an hour from now.
No, it was about this time.
Because they were almost closed. Oh wait, no, that was the time before. Okay.
That was when we went in after David's
Yeah.
medication.
Like I said, oh wait, that was the time before. So okay. Hopefully. And basically, I wouldn't touch anything that you don't have to. We do need to send you in with a card.
A card so you can pay for it, Mindy.
That is awesome.
And I forgot that and left my wallet at home.
Yeah.
What?
Look at the colors showing.
That's cool. I want one.
Cool.
2926.
So, I just thought I'd clarify that because Brett thought that the one that passed was the stimulus package.
The stimulus package is expected to be passed in the next few days
Yeah.
and wanting it out. Treasury Secretary wants it out to the American public within 3 weeks.
Yes. And so that's what confused him, is because he read that, so he thought it was the one that passed today and didn't realize that, no, they were asking
Then I
them
saw the
to...
president's picture saying he just passed the bill that you were talking about today.
So,
Providing immediate relief.
so there is the update. Your phone may have automatically updated it. Mine did. But then there are, as I stated earlier, there are assets to download. So this, you get, you have your normal, but if you click here, it now shows down here like that instead of how it was, and you can get your bonus summary.
Whoa. Whoa.
What?
It's a video. Oh, the earthquake.
I saw that. Oh, the transformers blowing up. The job site in Salt Lake.
Oh, that is one thing. My brother, another brother is also down there. And his work site was 5 miles from the epicenter, and it was damaged. It doesn't sound like severely, but it was damaged.
Dad,
So,
the two guys just walking casually as the earth is shaking. You know what somebody said?
What?
If that was me, I'd be running for my life!
and Brett figures the reason he did not feel
I
it
was walking the whole time.
is he was actually walking, so he
Working.
didn't feel it.
I was standing still, I probably would have felt it.
And they have said it partway depends on, especially with the way our ground is.
Spelled it in the plan.
Especially the way our ground is.
I felt it.
Areas, it may depend on where you are, different things like that, if you even feel it.
Yeah.
What does Grandma and Grandpa think of it?
Grandma said it happened.
I lost this. So I gotta do it the cheap way. It's your son broke it.
Huh?
He lost the
Button for the passenger side window.
Yeah, that's heading to more states.
What?
Gas prices. Kentucky, Dad, they just hit it. 99 cents a gallon.
That would be nice.
So I think the reason they're hitting that is, all I can guess is that the states
You're ruining my fun while Mindy's gone.
are doing a package to help pay the difference.
No, the demand for oil is not there at all.
Even that,
Because of
with the
Russia
amount
and Saudi
of...
Arabia are in a price war right now.
But then you still have your federal taxes. I mean, look up how much federal and state taxes make up per gallon. I mean, I wouldn't complain. I mean, anyone who lived through it will acknowledge that it's been probably about 20 plus years since they were 99 cents.
20 plus years, it's been longer than that.
I think I saw it once or twice when Stephen was a baby. But that was considered a cheap price when Stephen was a baby. Sounds like she did not call ahead, which I thought she would have. So it's taking a little while. Hopefully no one's in there. And that's not what's taking so long as they have a huge line of people. That is one thing that would be nice, is if they changed pharmacies and if healthcare companies would, or health insurances would pay that you could actually get a 2 or 3 month prescription all at once and still have it be as though you hadn't, or I mean, then have it quickly return. Even if you were prescribed so many months at 1 month at a time, if you could get extra months, just to be prepared. So the reason that one is, and maybe I think it happened on the stream, but yes, I was able to prestige that page. Brett went in to go figure out what's going on because I stopped him playing with my window. Oh, we've asked the person who's supposed to bring, so in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we have sacrament, usually every Sunday, and with the change where you aren't meeting in person right now, they've asked that everyone be able to have it at least once a month. And our bishopric has decided that the ministering brothers will bring the sacrament. And I actually talked to my ministering sister, who is the spouse of our ministering brother, which usually isn't the case, but it is in this case. And she's going to see if they can
to go in. I'm glad I did.
get it changed. Why?
The enter was entering the wrong pin.
Oh,
My
so
card was being declined because she
of
was
the wrong
entering
pin.
The wrong pin.
Now where is she?
She's finishing signing everything. She'll be right.
Oh, okay.
See, she's right there.
Okay.
No, that's back.
We might see if it's possible to get, if we're still on lockdown a month from now, or when you need more pills, we might see if it's possible to get an extra month ahead of hand just to be prepared. If that makes sense, Mindy.
Last article I read, Mindy, from the state, they're talking about canceling school for the remainder of the year.
And canceling high school graduations temporarily.
Oh.
Utah State's.
Yeah,
They send all the students home from Utah State last week.
yeah, but they're having them do it all online.
All their classes are done online. That's why they send them home to their own homes.
And they didn't send everyone home because they said if you don't have another place to go, we will still keep some places open. Let us know, but if you can go home, go home. So my guess is the one that's going to stay open the most is the married student housing, because most of them would not have another place to go to.
On par, I'm going to take a married couple back.
Well, they might. Some of them will. Especially temporarily, but at the same time, to try and move a married couple out is also going to be a lot harder and take a lot longer.
Does that feel good with the heat, Mindy? I just
Yes.
turned it on rare for you.
Yes, it does.
Got a long line, so I'm going to be here a while, I guess.
I wouldn't say it's necessarily a long line.
I'll be here a while.
I will agree we'll be here a while, but
You're not going to be. I'm letting you take the van and drive around Caden and Mindy so they're not bored.
okay. And then you'll just contact me?
I do need to go to Jade so I can give him his sock back. There's one bad thing about...
You stole a sock?
No, there's one bad thing about doing my clothes and their clothes together. Is I sometimes get their sock.
In other words, yes, she accidentally stole his sock.
No, I did not steal it. I am returned it. Which means
If she
I'm just,
stole
I
it, she just
borrowed
borrowed it.
Okay, so she borrowed it.
unknowingly and temporarily. I did that with the other pair of these socks as well last week.
You've got my phone, right, Caden?
Don't you need it?
So just come check back in Off and on? If he's taking your
My
phone?
phone, I guess.
No, we can come check back. I'm fine with that. You want us to do that?
It would get stuff done.
Okay. We can do that. And maybe you could ask to use a phone. Does someone want to come sit here and run my phone?
Check back in about a half hour to 40 minutes
Okay.
or so.
Okay. Does someone want to come sit here and run my phone? Thank you, Mindy.
I can't. I am locked in.
Oh, I know why. Do you know why? Huh?
Yeah. That's the only door that does it. You can get out on that side.
Yeah. So if he leaves it in drive, even if you've turned off the vehicle, you can't unlock that door. And he left it in drive. He turned the vehicle completely off, got out, and left it in drive. How do you even do that? I reached down here for my gear. What time is it?
5:52.
Okay. His clock was still on the old time. So I had to change it so that it's on the correct time so I can watch. So one thing I did see, Mindy managed to get her other order in just in time. So she is going to get her the other thing she ordered.
My microphone. So then I can start trying out for parts and voice acting.
For what?
For voice acting.
Oh, that's
As
right.
well as David.
Ah. That makes sense. So basically, so they can start trying for what David wants to do for his career. And Mindy just figured, I'm guessing it wouldn't hurt and she could have fun with it.
And I like voice acting as well.
Well, honestly...
And so if I get a chance, sure, why not?
Well, I was going to say, honestly, even more, being able to translate and voice acting may increase your chance of getting voice acting gig, if that makes sense. So along the lines of what you want to do, it's just one more opportunity that opens up for you in, honestly, with the degree you're looking at, I think there's a huge number of opportunities. And there's not many people that could manage to do what I believe you and your siblings can manage.
I think it'd be really fun to be able to translate for Funimation and then also voice act for them. Mm-hmm. That would be really fun.
Well, and honestly, who are they going to want more? Someone who can just do voice acting, or someone who could hear what's being said and translate it and immediately have it, have it be completely clear, translated right, whatever else. There's a reason, like, as I was saying earlier with General Conference, they prefer people who understand both languages so that they can make sure it ties in at the right times. If you've heard of some translation service things, they get so far off, what they're saying doesn't correspond at the right place in the thing. And that can actually be very frustrating. Whereas if you understand both, you can manage to get it to where it corresponds at the right. Your speaking part corresponds where the person you're speaking for is speaking, rather than it being way off. And so that's an even higher demand if you can get it. And it's harder to find people who can do it. So having that ability, especially then being able to say, oh, and it's not just one language, it's more than one language I can provide this with. Even more so says, okay, we want you. Your pay rate, the more languages you learn, the higher it goes. And so, yeah. And then, as you've said, the chance to travel the world and whatever else. But if it's honestly a lot of voice acting could actually get you stationed in one place, or be working for somewhere, but you can work anywhere in the world, so you could travel on your own and just call in or dial in, I should say, and act while you're on vacation. Huh?
Not unless you have really good studio equipment that can move around. I normally like to have you there with the other actors.
Well, it varies. That's what I'm saying. But, yeah. Someone's here playing. I don't know if it's Pokemon Go or Wizard U.
Pokemon Go.
Ah.
I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be clicking on.
You can click on any. I need InSpun. You can click on any, see if I need them. InSpun, watch for my port keys.
You're full spell energy.
Where you at, Mewtwo?
Dead. He died. Did you kill him?
Plus the translation you can do from anywhere.
Yeah. which is why if a pandemic ever comes to pass while I'm a translator, it won't matter.
Well, and in that case, actually, cases like this, they probably are trying to set people up with homes, with studios, whatever, so that they aren't in the same place. If you think about it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the movies
Well, a lot
and
of
whatever,
them still have home studios so that
yeah,
they can go and do their lines and practice their lines and stuff and making sure it sounds right and good. But
well, and a lot
of them can't travel with that equipment.
A lot of your movies and stuff, they only record one person at a time and then put it all together. Or they have you each in a separate sound room.
Bye, Dave Durfee.
Check the purple one out.
Purple one.
If it's
What
there.
purple?
Oh, it disappeared.
There's no purple.
I saw one purple as I quickly glanced over as I was turning. But yeah, I think Mindy is in one of the best positions just because of the extra skills she got that I kind of insisted on, and it drove her dad crazy. But now it's actually prepared her and her siblings for a better life in many ways. Especially her, where she wants to go into linguistics. Well, into translating, but with her case, where she has those extra skills, linguistics is the best of that, the best degree to get, because she can do more than one language, even. And that's the key, is she was raised speaking enough languages that it's not very difficult for her to pick up a language.
I promise we are moving. It just doesn't want to. There.
So, because her brain doesn't need to grasp that, oh, this word stands for this thing, as much as it just what word stands for each thing. Which may seem a little bit weird, the distinction between the two, but her brain accepts that there's more than one word for water. It doesn't matter to her. She just needs to learn the word for water in the language she's speaking, or the language she wants to speak. Whereas a lot of people, water is water, and okay, what word equals water is what their brain has to figure out. Whereas hers just has to figure out, okay, water is a word that equals what we see when we hear water. Her brain, she hears water, she sees that, but she hears agua, she sees that. She hears wasser, she sees that, etc. So it's just, her brain sees it as a symbol rather than as this is water. So, it's a high benefit to learning languages. And it's actually one of the reasons I actually tried to insist on them learning German from a really young age. As much as I could, with her father insisting no, they only needed to learn English, I was actually doing, trying to learn language and yet speak to them in German, as their dad was fighting and only wanting to speak English to them. Which is kind of frustrating, but it worked enough that...
Later on, he started being okay with it. I told him I wanted to learn German. And he was like, I don't really know how to teach you, but here's some words. Practice them and then come talk to me with them. Which was fun.
But that was after we were divorced.
Mm-hmm. That's why I said later on.
Mm-hmm. But it was the basis...
No, don't be that close.
It was the basis from when you were young that helped, if that makes sense. Because you never learned that this is just water. You learned early on that every single thing we say is just a symbol. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's a stand-in. And I had read early on that one of the best things, before I had kids, I had learned that one of the best things you can do to help a child be able to progress the most in other languages, but also it would help in things like science and math and a lot of other things, was to know more than one language, to be raised with more than one language. It's actually why a lot of actors and stuff will hire foreign language speaking nannies to help take care of, and and workers and whatever to help take care of their kids, so that their kids are exposed to a wide variety of languages, because it gives them a head start in life. Well, I had the opportunity of, Spanish was kind of around, but it was kind of harder for me to share that with them, because I didn't really like Spanish. But I did know, I knew a little bit of Spanish, a little bit of French, and a teeny tiny bit of German. Their father spoke German. So I tried, and I got books in German that I would try and read them. I would try and have him teach me, when he was in a good mood, teach me certain things, and I'd use them with the kids, etc. So, things like that, that was what happened around them, and so they could accept easier. And it may have had some impact on their abilities in music and their math abilities and stuff like that too. But then also we tried to, especially Danny, got into music when he was really little. The others I tried to, but and Mindy kind of got into it. Stephen and David not so much. But when you combine the fact that they were raised with multiple languages, and then on top of that they did have music around them, and pretty early, they did have music lessons, decent, off and on and stuff like that. And I did what I could to surround them with it. I think it helps explain some of their skills in math and science and English and different things like that. So, And then I will admit, and this is not to be bragging, but I also had a teacher that knew me in high school that said, when I said my kids were doing amazing in school and stuff, she said, "That's not surprising. You're a genius. Your kids are going to be geniuses. Just, you are. And a lot of your siblings were close. So the genetics, they have the genetics to be geniuses." Well, and then I think the fact that I really think a big part of it was their exposure to languages and music and stuff like that. And maybe it was a little bit of everything, but we did have, as I've said before, so on top of having a little bit of French and teeny bit and Spanish that I knew, and them having Spanish early on in school, and then their dad's being German, so they heard their Oma and Opa speak to him in it, and I would try to teach what I could. I do believe that provided it. And then when David was little, we also added in ASL. And so they did have a number of languages that they could speak. I mean, we still use some things. It's really nice when your mouth is full and someone does something for you to use ASL to say thank you, right, Mindy? Because you're still able to express your things and yet not have to worry about it. The fact that your mouth is full, or hurry and chew that bite and swallow it before you can say thank you. So we use please sometimes different things like that. As Mindy said on the stream before, she didn't know that Auf Wiedersehen didn't mean to everyone, your parents are about to leave you.
You better run after them, otherwise you will get left behind.
She didn't realize that until she was a lot older. But when everyone's speaking English and there's another language your brain picks up that you hear, your brain picks up on it. And sometimes they'll focus on that one over everything else. So it could be a really crowded area, and I just have to say Auf Wiedersehen after having tried a number of times, tried other ways usually, but they would hear it and they would respond because they, and there were times I would say, we're leaving, different things like that, and you could tell they did not hear it. Auf Wiedersehen, I don't think I ever had once that they didn't hear it. Even in a busy, loud room. And so that was also part of the reason I would use it, is it quickly became apparent to me that it could be used in situations where they might not hear me using English. They would hear the German. And so that was always nice and a benefit. So So to this day, at times when I need them to hear something and I know how to say it such in a language that they understand, and usually the restriction is me, not them, I'll use it because it'll get heard. So that is one thing I will say, is if anyone has little kids or little grandkids that the parents are willing to learn another language, even if it's learn it while they're teaching it to their kids. Like, it wasn't I do not speak German anywhere near fluently, but I spoke a little bit, and then they heard it otherwise. And that was enough that down the road they could learn on their own and become a lot more fluent. And it set them up better in life. One reason my ex didn't want the different languages is he always insisted it would confuse them. And what I had read was that it really isn't as confusing if you use only one language. If either one person always speaks one language, like mom always speaks one language and dad always speaks the other language, or if they speak one language, that's the best option, is if you can have different people only speak in each language, because then they are still prepared at school and stuff. They know their native language. So like with my kids, they needed to hear English, and so if I had spoke to them in English and dad in German all the time, they could have been fluent in German a lot sooner. But because they did have some, they were fluent in it, or they're able to become fluent in it a lot easier. So there's that. I do know I heard of another family when Stephen was a baby. What they would do is in the home they spoke one language, and out of the home they spoke the language of where they were living.
Don't forget, I need to go to Jade's.
Oh yeah, let's run there. And then we'll go check on Brett. So those are two options. It is always recommended, though, if possible, that they hear the language of where they're living from the time they're little. Not that they are taught Spanish or French or German or whatever, or Russian or whatever language until they are 5, and that's all they've heard, and then all of a sudden send them off to school and expect them to be able to deal with English in the classroom exclusively. That one's a bit harder. That one's harder because they haven't really heard English or used English at all. My nephews that were adopted from Ukraine, they had to be taught English. And from what I picked up, from what I've picked up, is that it did cause problems for a little while with their schooling because they didn't have it. They didn't really know very much English.
We're having to help Nazar.
Huh?
I remember having to help Nazar. Trying to remember words and make sure he knew them.
Mm-hmm. Daniel, I think, had it a bit easier.
Yeah, he was a lot younger.
Yeah, he was a lot younger. And I think so I know they always spoke Russian at home, but I think what they did is actually there for a while they spoke a lot of English at home when they were first adopted. And I think Daniel was not yet 5, but I think they put him I think he was 3 when they adopted him. But then they put him in a preschool. So they could speak Russian at home, but they were picking up the English. And so I think it was a lot easier for Daniel than Nazar. Nazar was about 8 years older than his brother, I think. 5 to 8 years older.
I don't know. He's my age. I don't know how old Danny is, though.
I don't remember. I think he's like 5 to 8 years older than his brother.
I think Nazar is just a little bit younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think it's like half a year.
So,
He just got home. Sorry, late tuning.
not a problem, Steph. So, earlier in the stream, I said that Daniel, they asked to hear if any of them have extra risk factors, etc., that they should be aware of. And so, then I finally had to tell him. But I also listed a lot of the reasons why I felt he was safer there than here. So we will see what happens. I will say they're giving him $75 to get emergency supplies ready. And they'll give them a list of supplies to get that they can choose from, but they are doing that, so I doubt they're going to do transfers this time. We'll see, but I don't know how they'd have them move with their emergency supplies. So there's that. They said that if they get stuck home, they actually will be contacting twice a week and not just once a week. So there's that. And that's basically how it's going with Daniel. And just as a clarification, some people think the bill giving extra money to the stimulus bill has passed. It has not yet passed. It's still working its way through everywhere. The Treasury Department wants it to pass, but it has not yet passed. They are working on it. The one that passed today was one that deals with some sick leave, paid sick leave, free coronavirus testing, a few things like that. So, and I'm just stating because my husband got that one wrong. And he misunderstood, so I figured I'd clarify. Because obviously some people are misunderstanding and everything. So, conference, if you choose to watch it, is going to be different than previous conferences. They are only going to have the first presidency and the speakers and those saying prayers in a small assembly hall on Temple Square. I'm not sure if they will have set up. I agree they need to hurry and pass all of it, but I will be honest, I think with that one, the reason they're breaking it up into smaller parts is then, one, it's harder to slip things in, but two, they don't lose everything if one part doesn't pass. That one yours, or did they send it out with you, or what?
This is Mindy's.
Ah. Mindy sent a quill out with Caden. Anyway, so let's say that people didn't want to pass the stimulus bill for some reason. The other parts at least passed. Or, because there's a number of bills and resolutions that are in between that are either in the House or the Senate or both. And so this way, if you break it up into smaller parts, the most will pass possible. And I think that's the plan, is how much can we get passed? So let's break it into smaller parts and pass the parts rather than try and make one big bill and keep it and have that hold everything up between resolutions and this and that. And so far, the bills that have passed as they were proposed. No changes, anything else. Because people know other bills are still coming up that'll add the other things they feel they want. And so it's actually a way to get things passed quicker, faster, get on it sooner. It becomes a lot of bills, but it can, if you take that approach, you can get more things passed quickly. Honestly, that was one of the things that some people were saying when the shutdown happened, the government shutdown, is they should break it into smaller bills and get each smaller bill passed. And some people didn't want that because they wanted to make sure they could slip in things just for their state or different things like that that were controversial. And that's kind of the problem. The smaller the bill, the less likely you are to get controversial things passed. But the better chance, if it's not controversial, it's that it will be passed. So right now, I think everyone realizes that with coronavirus, the more they can pass, the faster, the better for the country. So it's better to go ahead and pass smaller bills quickly, a bunch of smaller bills quickly, than to try and make it into one big bill. So I agree. I'm hoping it all goes through. I think that's kind of what they're trying to do, though, is trying to make sure they get the most through they can. And that's part of the reason for breaking it down. Is because, honestly, there is one about if a vaccine comes out. And it sounds like I haven't read it, but I could see someone proposing that once a vaccine's developed, everyone has to have the vaccine, no matter what. Well, if you had something like that in a stimulus package, it could derail a stimulus package. Because there would be enough people opposed to that part of that that it could totally get it not to pass. So by breaking up into individual parts, they can hopefully get the most through. And they've gotten the ones they've gotten through, they are giving more money for food stamps. They're reducing some of the requirements for food stamps, different things like that. So, each of those is a benefit. What was passed today, though, does include a tax relief for this coming year. In other words, even if we don't get the stimulus package passed, there will be extra money when you file your taxes next year. So, that's positive. So no matter what, there is extra money. It's just when that money will be distributed and or if even more money will be given. That kind of is more in a wait and see. They are working on things as we speak. So, well, maybe not as we speak right now. Maybe they've gone to bed. But, from what I understand, some of the coronavirus bills are being pushed through as quickly as possible and taking precedence over bills that have been there longer. So, all of that is good news for that. So there's that. Conference is going to be basically broadcast out of an assembly hall. I don't know if they will have cameras pre-set up and then digitally controlled, or what will happen there. But other than that, they will have the first presidency, so the three of them, each of the speakers, and the two prayers. The music has been pre-recorded, or will be pre-recorded. It sounds like it's already recorded, which means they're probably just going to pull from some of the music in the spoken word broadcasts, things like that the Tabernacle Choir has done in the past, and that they will not have. Usually for Saturday sessions, they have choirs from different places. It sounds like it will probably not be that unless it's one of the institute choirs that have already pre-recorded music. They might do that. But more likely than not, it'll be all Tabernacle Choir this time, because the Tabernacle Choir has a lot more music that's been recorded that also has video to go with it. Either that, or they may do a separate video to play during the choir, as the choir singing. I'm not sure which, but both of those are possibilities. So, that will be a little bit different than they have done in the past. Obviously, all of that will be available on either the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints website, or they do have a YouTube channel that you can usually catch it on. So, or that they broadcast it on. There will be 3 sessions Saturday and 2 on Sunday. So they have, going by the mountain time, 10, 2, and 6. 6, I'm pretty positive. It may be 7. I'm not sure which one. On Saturday, and then 10 and 2 on Sunday. So. That hopefully will help people be able to figure out. Oh, interesting. It makes sense, but it's okay. We're gonna go around again.
It's not even got in.
Yeah, maybe go see how they're letting people in.
You want me to go check?
Yeah, ask him. It may be only one person at a time, or a few people at a time. Just so I know. Oh, sorry. There, you should be able to know.
Drive around a bit.
Well, I don't have anyone behind me. I need to drive forward, though.
You're not a very nice person.
Well, how
Hello.
are you?
Hi.
Okay.
Good to see you. What you doing? Just coming to get...
Brett's in line.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I wish I would... Maybe I'll have him save me a place. Where is he at?
In line up there.
Yeah.
He's coming back.
No, that's
No, that's
Caden.
Caden.
All right. Well, you guys see you later.
Oh, just a minute there. Okay. I didn't know.
Let it
kids-
one person at a time.
Ah, that's what's taking so long. I can see that, and I might have actually been willing to do that if I had known that.
There's 5 people in there right now. It's just one person comes out, then another person gets
Oh,
in.
so there's 5 in there at a time, plus the employees, or plus the people helping.
What are you doing, dude?
So there's like 10 people at a time. That makes more sense. So that person we were talking to is from our ward.
I know.
She was tying the string, I think.
Yes. And it does look like they are giving quite a bit out. I was worried that they wouldn't be. But if so, what that means is that some of the stimulus is starting to come through, or they're planning on it, because that means that they've been able to purchase enough to give out enough. And that is one thing that was there are some more or it sounded like that they're prepared for, however, funding through Health and Human Services, things like that, for lower income, so. And Steph, you might check into the requirements for food stamps have changed. There is no work requirement at all anymore, at least for a while, and a few other things like that. So you might qualify, might help you for a little while until you're able to get settled.
I read today 1,000 per adult and 500 per child from the government.
That one is still in the House and the Senate. That has not been guaranteed yet. It has not gone to the president's desk. The president has said once he gets it, he'll sign it, but it hasn't made it through both. And I'm sure he'll only sign it if they don't try and slip something in. But at the same time, like I said, I think they're doing smaller bills so that people don't try and slip outrageous things in so that they do get through. But that part is, and so there's two sections to that. There is a stimulus package that we will get that check. The Treasury Department hopes in the next 3 weeks, and then if it's still a huge issue, that we'll get another one a month from then. But for that, it sounds like, as I was reading through, you have to have filed taxes in the last year. And I couldn't tell how it's declaring children. If it has to be the child tax credit qualified children, or if it's anyone counted as a dependent on your tax return. So there's that. The stimulus but the one that just passed today, if I remember right, one of them will be through tax, or one of the ones I think I read is through tax returns next year. And that one, and I'm not 100% sure, I'd have to go back and look, but that one said it'll be off your taxes. So
I actually went yesterday, so fingers crossed.
Went and applied?
I don't know.
But even if you applied yesterday, where that was passed today, they probably were waiting. And so I would almost guarantee you will be approved for it. Because right now you're not working. And so, at least from what I understand, and so not working, usually you have to be working to get food stamps. But with this one, it doesn't matter if you're working or not. You will, they go by income into the house. And if you applied just by yourself, that would mean that you have no income because you aren't working, which would mean you qualify. They are doing some unemployment. They've increased the way unemployment works, a few things like that too. So
It did me and the two younger kids.
okay. But even then, if you aren't working, that means you don't have income if they aren't working either. If one of them's working, I still don't think they'd be earning enough that you wouldn't qualify. So I can't see why you wouldn't be approved. So that should be helpful until you can get, till either things change and they take away that, they may put the requirement back, you have to be working, or until you can figure out for sure where you want to be and get on your feet. I will say, if you move, you do have to, even if you've been approved for food stamps in whatever place you're in, you will have to apply wherever you move to. Now, depending, you might be able to get it for one while you're waiting for the other one. Because I think there's a requirement if you have to live somewhere for a certain number, you have to prove residency. I can't remember. You'd have to check. So you'll want to take that into account if you're planning on moving somewhere else. Because I know you had been thinking of Logan. I don't know. I know you brought up Portland, Oregon. One thing to be aware of, I don't know which side of the, I don't know if you're Republican or Democrat.
Or neither.
But from what I've heard, in Portland, Oregon itself, you do not ever want to admit you're anything but Democrat. So that might make a difference on if you want to consider moving there or not. But from what I understand, there's been attacks on people who say they're Republican or independent in Portland, Oregon. So, something to consider. I know missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have been basically told to keep their mouth shut on anything that even possibly could be considered political, even stating what way they vote or who they vote for or anything. Not even trying to, even if they're asked, they aren't supposed to say anything. And I got that from my son, who was in Portland on a mission 2 years ago. Not quite 2 years ago. From some of the people who are still out there serving. They've been told to be very careful with what they say there and how they say it. And it's not because of the way it might portray the church or that it might be deemed as the church saying they're one way or other. It is literally because of the danger to their lives. So, that is, as you look at areas, one thing you might want to consider is if things like that are happening. My stepson says that Logan High, so the high school for Logan itself, sometimes can become political. But, well, you said that some of the people will pick on you if you say one way or the other. But it's not allowed to become physical, and it's not bullying. Do I have that right, Caden?
No, you can say what you want. I have many friends who are Democrats and many friends who are Republican.
Mm-hmm.
They both said it. They weren't picked on. It was just
Okay.
all their opinion.
I thought you said that sometimes some of the views were picked on by some people.
They are too young, and I'm out of work with the older ladies until this
Like
passes.
you can say Merry Christmas or...
My brother lives in Portland, so I was going to visit with him and then some friends in Eugene. I'm neither literally swinging voter. I will simply choose the better candidate.
Yeah, that's the way I am. Brett's declared Republican, and Caden is, but I'm independent. I think Mindy is. I think Danny is. I can't remember if Steven is or not. So, it kind of shows you. My kids were raised to pick the best cat. Danny, actually, he told me that he can't really research this year, so he wants me to do the research. But Steven, even when he was out, he's like, Mom, tell me what candidate, don't tell me what party. He did not want to vote straight party. He wanted me to really go through. And I said, I'm not going to tell you exactly. Here's a brief outlining, and he said, Mom, what way are you voting? Or who are you? No, just tell me who you're voting for, because I believe very much I believe the same things you do, and I know you've researched them. So so tell me who you're voting for. And I'm like, okay, here's who I'm voting for. And
the one comedian guy.
Mm-hmm.
The one comedian guy who always goes in every time.
Well, last year I admit I voted Trump, but it was because I did not. So I'm known to vote third party if I feel that I can vote a third party and not make someone I absolutely, or not have it end up that by voting for a third party goes to the party I feel is the worst. Barack Obama's first term, I voted for him. So I have voted both Democratic and Republican for president. I say first term because some things changed in the way he ran between first and second term and stuff, but...
Stupid lunch program.
Yes, that was a part of it, was the lunch program.
Stupid lunch program.
Made everything disgusting. Even pizza.
Yes.
How do you make pizza terrible?
That is one
They
thing.
made cardboard
They've
pizza.
given waivers for the lunch program. That was part of what passed. Is they don't have to follow quite as strictly the lunch guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
At least for what they can get waivers a lot easier to not follow it. Anyway, at least
means
during
they
the
can just
coronavirus outbreak.
Give us money to go and buy Little Caesars, right?
No, they can't do that.
I know.
But they are changing at your school to you go pick up food daily, but I'm not doing that this week because we got the food for the week. But that means next week they might have different meals, if that makes, like warm meals. Mm-hmm. I kind of prefer if they would have sent meals to be warmed up or stuff. But, oh well. I prefer the pickup once a week. And I'm thinking maybe we should let them know that. Especially if you're okay with even what they did this time. Maybe.
I don't want more PB&J.
Okay.
I'm going to eat it for the rest of the week. I don't want more PB&J.
Okay, so you will be sick of it by then.
Yes.
Okay. You had said you weren't sure when I asked last time.
Mm-hmm.
But after looking at things, you went, nope, not working.
Yeah.
You do know some of your cereal's still in the front room.
Yeah.
David had thought, if you remember, that they got PB&J for lunch and breakfast.
I would have been even more sick of it.
But when he got looking after they got home, they gave him cereal for breakfast.
Yep.
And PB&J for lunch. Yeah. So. My guess is that people complained they were going to get sick of it real quick, and so that's why they changed.
Yes.
But even if they could give a couple days at a time, you know, one warm meal and one cold meal or something like that, I think would have been nice. But that's my opinion. Because then we wouldn't have to go in as often. They are talking about completely closing schools here.
Yeah, for the rest of the year, and I really hope they do it. I really want that, and so I don't have to go to graduation. Aha! It'll be wonderful!
If they do a graduation, or I think they'd still do a graduation, they just might not have you have to go, or they might...
Okay, yes. Don't make me go.
You know, basically do it online type thing, or they might have the kids have to go, but then the rest is broadcast, or I don't know.
Yes, just,
Okay,
I don't care.
inside.
Just don't make me go. No.
Brett's inside, so we're gonna park now. But if they do that, I wonder how they'll do the school lunch programs.
Just don't give us the same thing every day, and don't make us go. It'll be great. Because I get so much more done when we don't have school. Because it's so easy, and so that way you just go ahead and spend like 2 hours a day on school, and then you can go and do your own stuff and still get the same amount of work done. It's better.
As you can tell, my kids are... It takes them less time to do the work.
Yeah, because we don't have our teacher sitting there talking for like an hour and a half about the same thing, and it's like, we already finished this. Can we do tomorrow's homework? No, you're not allowed. We have to do this as a class.
Well, and they get... So part of it with my kids is they're able to get more done at a time. Like, it doesn't take them quite as long as it takes other students to grasp concepts, etc. And so, working on their own, they're able to get things done faster. At the same time, there is a certain amount they need to learn. Right now, the way they have it is, and it varies from class to class. Did you know some of your classes, or some of the classes at your school, they have to watch videos and be on at certain times?
Well, that's good. And it will never change for me because I have math and chem, and then next term I only have chem. So it doesn't matter for me.
And that's another thing, is my kids' classes still are going to change once.
But I don't have a first hour, so. Because I suck at waking up, and my counselor knows this. She's like, you're good to go, so you don't need it.
Have you been working on your science or Spanish in your extra time?
Sort of. Attempting to. The network was down.
Because everyone who has it, that has other classes, that has regular school, So his only part-time is also trying to work on it. That makes sense.
And it doesn't like that computer particularly.
Mm.
And I don't know if it's just because everyone is on or it just doesn't.
Do you need to use my computer?
I'm going to see.
Okay. If you need to come try, go ahead and come try.
Tomorrow I will be gone most of the day. Because I really need to wash clothes.
So, my son told me yesterday that the work is stupid.
The work?
Yeah, homework.
Oh, it is. It's very stupid. But it's faster, so.
So why is it stupid?
Because there are certain questions you can't answer. Because the tools don't work. Like, there's one where it's,
So the same problem you had with the math class before, the online math class.
yeah, but it's only once every few questions. Not every other one, and it's not, like, if you're having problems with it, you can text Tiana and be like, hey, this isn't working. Like, on the one of the ones today, it was just that you were supposed to use an e-tool to answer this question and make it bigger and blah, blah, blah. But the e-tool didn't work, so she removed it. But then she forgot to remove the, like, that part that says use the e-tool. And so, yeah. But I only got that answer late, like 3 hours later, and so I just said, I can't do this e-tool. I cannot. So I probably got that marked wrong, but oh well.
Well, if it still said to use the e-tool, then you probably didn't. She probably went in and removed it as, like, from the grading portion. Más español, Mindy?
Eh? I didn't hear you.
Más español, Mindy? She's shaking her head, yes. And then said sí. But, yeah, the kids have had interesting experiences with their classes, so.
My chem is fine because it was already pretty much all online, so it's fine.
Okay.
I don't like your cord, man.
I'm sorry.
He's dumb.
He's plugging it in, so.
Maybe if I can get it plugged in.
It doesn't like him. Looks a bit like Matt.
You got it before I made it in.
These does not work.
Yeah, honestly, I think down the road, online school would be the best type of school for kids, and that they can go at their own rate. So if they finish the math for the year and they still have half the year left, they just start on the next year.
Right.
And so if they finish all their required courses when they're 12, to have passed everything through high school, then they start on college.
Your curity's not young enough, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Just because kids each have their own skills and they're
Like English. I could
positive
do
and
English
negative.
super easily.
Yeah.
Math, I would take longer on, depending. And science, I can do easily.
But precisely. Whereas Danny, if it had that done, how quick would he have been out of math?
Way quick.
I don't think he would have made it with math
No, I am not doing that.
till 5th grade. He probably wouldn't have had any math left in 5th grade when he was the age of a 5th grader. Right, Mindy? Or do you think different?
There.
Or he would have been working on college math. Just because all his free, because he would have gone through it so fast and enjoyed it so much.
I did
that
not want you to go away.
he would have
Fine.
jumped onto other maths and whatever else. So,
It's very simple. There you go. I will make you dizzy.
whereas like Mindy and Steven probably would have been out of English classes way before they were. Well, especially Mindy. Steven would have taken a bit longer, but Mindy loved reading by 2nd grade. By first
fourth.
grade.
4th. I would not read until 4th grade. Because that's when the teachers stopped pushing me to read.
Yeah, but if they had changed it, you loved to read, just not what the teachers made you read.
Okay, yeah.
And so if they had let you go at your own pace, so they weren't forcing you to read so many minutes
It really does hate me.
or whatever, then you would have been done a lot faster, right?
See.
You probably wouldn't have been, you would have been done with your high school English by the time you were 6th grade or something.
Okay.
Just keep watching. Mindy, youngling.
But I do believe each kid has their areas where they're strong and areas where they're weaker. And when you're trying to make them all to work with a big group all at once, you kind of have to go for the middle of the line, and those who are
Oh, you can
who
press it more than
struggle
once.
end up way behind and really hurting, and those who are really fast end up bored as all get out.
I didn't see that you put 2 and not 2, and I was like, what? I can practice with. That would be great. Then I don't have to sit there like a silly person in my room talking to myself, doing both sides of the conversation.
She also has someone else she could practice with.
Yes.
She just never goes over and talks to her.
I go and talk to her, mostly to steal her bananas.
That's true.
M&M's.
But you usually don't use Spanish talking to
Yeah,
her.
you don't like...
No, that's because I don't know enough to actually talk. I'm in the basics.
You don't like
somewhat.
chocolate, so that does not look good.
So her
I like
grandma
chocolate. Thank you very much.
went to Spain
like
on
German
a
chocolate.
mission and is actually one of the Spanish workers up at our temple. So she's fluent in
That didn't go well.
Spanish.
That didn't go as planned.
I will throw it at you again.
So being fluent in Spanish,
Oh, get off that screen. It's probably not very fun.
she's able to,
Dick Clover.
she's farther ahead than Mindy is.
Yes.
Poof. Ivan Kosovo.
That guy is not having fun.
Why?
Which one?
the second in line, he keeps looking in the window and looking very pissed.
Just bored. He's been in line for how long?
I mean, yes, but he still does not. Yo, that didn't seem a nice person. Your car is dying.
Since we dropped Brett off,
It's been like 5 hours.
an hour and a half.
5. There's no way. It's only been an hour and a half. It's been like 5.
No, it's
I
been
swear.
an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Time to sing some
Because it's
shit.
taking longer to get people through the line and everything else, too.
Yeah. It's not the most fun thing to do. I mean, I talk to myself a lot, yes. But it's not fun trying to do both sides of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Especially not out loud. I can do it in my head just fine. Whatever. Or I can easily do one side out loud. But when I have to do both out loud, it's not fun. Ha. It will kill your finger.
Yay!
Don't set it on my pen! It's a very precious pen. I spent a lot of money on it. For a pen. That dude's happy.
Because he's next.
I know.
Enemy
Still, he was
ships.
like, yay, I get it going now.
Come on, enemy ships. Come on.
No. Yellow person.
I have a feeling this one's Brett. They're having trouble getting him out. Nope, not Brett.
Ships! Battleships!
I can do both pretty fine. So,
Alrighty then. Aiming.
doesn't really
ready,
matter to me.
Fire!
I mean, I definitely sound like an American Spanish speaker, but I could still do both pretty easily. Unless you're trying to speak to an actual
you
Spanish speaker, and then it's just like they're saying a bunch of the words all together, and it's like, I can't speak that fast. I'm sorry. I'm not that practiced.
Until you get fluent. And as soon as you're fluent, you may not sound like a American Spanish speaker as you're talking to someone who's not. Because you pick up their accents just like I do.
Yes. I wonder how that would work while I'm speaking the language. That would be interesting.
My guess is you'll pick up the accent and not even know you're picking up the accent.
Brett, hurry up. I'm bored. Hello, bored. I'm Brett. Nice to meet you, Brett.
Well, we've just seen at least 3 people come out.
Yes, make
So
your
we've
correction.
seen 3 or 4 people come out. So he should be out any minute. Because only 5 are allowed in at a time.
I hope that because in an online game with a bunch of bots apparently. Which is fun. I get a bomb up.
Yes, it was great. Since he's not here to say it, I get to say it for him.
What?
Hi, Brett. Hi, bored. I'm Brett. Caden talks to himself a lot.
Do I?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Brett would have forgot to say it, but if it were the other way around,
I wouldn't have.
yeah.
Thank you for noticing.
Unless I'm also that. At which point I say, I'll do it like I did to Lynn the other day. And she was like, Mindy, I'm bored. And I was like, hi, bored. I am also bored. Because we were very bored. Caden talks to himself. My dad did 2 years in Spain with the Navy. Spent time in South America. So it was... That's awesome. Caden talks to himself a lot. And he does it out loud.
Yep. Just making some
See, that's cool that he would be your
navigation
practice.
changes.
I will say with our family, we all talk to ourselves out loud a lot.
Yes, but normally only one side of the conversation.
Navigation.
Or at least you make one part of the conversation sound normal, and then the other part sound like a different part of you.
Usually it's only one part of the conversation as we're asking things where they're at. Inanimate objects.
Come on.
Well, of course, it's like, phone, where did you go? Why must you not be here? I need you.
Sounds about normal.
Yes.
Yeah, boredom. Boredom is not nice.
Did I say?
It's very boring.
What happened? Oh, we won!
Oh, wow, that's amazing, Mindy. It's like it has bored in the name! I'll bite your finger.
I'll bite your finger. I don't want my finger bit.
That's what you would get for poking me. Ha 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 ha.
Do I get that for poking you on Facebook?
No, because I never check Facebook. Something's on your phone.
It's on his phone.
Whatever, look at it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
You're going to look at it.
Armament modification, propulsion modification.
Oh, I see. Ew, Brat, why do you do that? It's terrible.
Do what?
Here's the messages in his messenger. That's not nice.
Well, you don't like how my dad does it?
No, it's stupid. Why would you want to connect your phone and other stuff to your Facebook? They can hack you more easily.
Hey!
I'm guessing the next one is Brett, and that's what's taking so long.
Oh, the dark!
After I grew up, I would speak customers and coworkers through the years. Speak it passively. That's awesome. I want to be able to speak it passively, not just know every other word. I mean, I'm not as interested to learn that as other stuff because everyone knows Spanish, and so, yeah, it's good speaking to others, but it's not as fun. And it wouldn't help me too much in what I want to do.
Desire to learn Mandarin Chinese.
Exactly. That one would be very helpful. And it pays a lot, because no one wants to learn it.
And not as many people in the U.S., etc., know it.
Exactly.
For that reason.
They go through.
No.
This is not true, but people still believe it.
Yeah, you say I didn't at everyone today, and I just think of like, I didn't fight you guys today, and I was like, what? It didn't make much sense. I will bite your fingers.
Yeah!
I was already awake when the earthquake hit. At first I thought it was just a big huff show.
I wasn't!
Because the top of the house started shaking, but then the basement started shaking. I just stayed in bed.
Sounds like about what I did, Jen.
I did!
I stayed in bed. That does not mean I didn't wake up. I woke up and I was like, what is that? And then my dog started barking. It was not nice. Luckily, she stopped pretty soon after. Oh yeah, I need to talk to Grandma. What is today? It's Thursday. She's at the temple if there's temple still.
Caden,
Temple.
go help Brett.
The beauty up.
Oh, maybe it's not as bad as I thought.
Have a phone, Caden. You're like, I don't want a phone.
I refuse.
Brett, how dare you, you terrible person!
What's he's terrible?
He dropped something. And that's literally
I
the
got you
lyric.
something you want.
Yeah, but you dropped
4
something.
SpaghettiO cans.
But you dropped something, you terrible person.
Dad, you're terrible.
You're not supposed to drop stuff.
We got dinner tonight.
Which is
Pork patties.
a what?
These.
Oh. I heard fork patties and I was like, what the frick are fork patties?
Pork.
Are they made out of metal? I don't want to eat these metal patties. Thank you very much. It will kill
By the
me.
way, the scream's helping me. Andy said she's bored, and they said, "Hi, bored."
No, that was me saying it to myself. It was me saying it to myself.
Caden,
No.
I don't
Please,
have to tease you more than that.
please don't tell me they're cinnamons.
Gummy candies.
Are they cinnamon? That is my question.
Probably cherry.
They smell like cherry.
There's a fact for you to try.
We shall see if it's cherry. If not, I will eat it gladly. If they are, I will puke it on Caden.
I forgot what type of dressing was. They just threw it. It's a dressing. It's the
Cherry?
pomegranate dressing.
Nope.
What?
I said, my wife will
What
like
are they?
that, but I
When I have with strawberry.
I just wondered who it was.
guess who was here.
Him?
He's still in line. Oh, he's still in line, isn't he?
I saw him over there,
Um,
and I said, "Hey, Brett's over there too." He should have saved me a place in line.
Yeah, it did. What are cinnamons? You know the hot tamales or whatever, the cinnamon candies?
Are they
Yeah.
cinnamon?
No.
Strawberry.
No. Jen was asking what are cinnamons, and I was explaining. Yeah, so hot tamales, the like cinnamon tasting candies, I hate those because they stink, and I just don't like the
Mindy
taste either.
despises frozen eggs.
I despise frozen eggs.
What?
I despise frozen eggs.
Why?
You said Mindy despises and then frozen eggs.
And then switch to frozen eggs mid.
So apparently I despise frozen eggs.
See?
I clicked on something.
Despises frozen eggs.
Yeah. That's what cinnamons are. And why I was going to kill Brett if they were cinnamons. Because I don't like cinnamon. Okay, I know I like normal cinnamon. I don't like candy cinnamon. It's not nice for me.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is good.
Yeah, but that's normal cinnamon. Ooh, cupcakes! I'm going to eat them all before dinner. They are mine. This is my dinner, Brett. I'll put the chocolate ones. I want to eat the chocolate ones. You can have the chocolate.
What did it say? You guys see what this says when
No,
you said it?
Brett. No, Mom. They're not going to be. Not just these are going to be my dinner. I will also have my ice cream. That will be my dinner. Cupcakes and ice cream. It'll be great. So healthy.
There's also cookies that you like.
Oh, what are these cookies? Those are not cookies. Those are marshmallows, Brett.
Right there.
Yes. Yeah, okay, Mom. I will have cookies, cupcakes. cupcakes and ice cream for dinner. That's my dinner. Yeah, it's definitely healthy.
No, it's not.
Very healthy. And everyone else can have the chocolate ones. Hey, it's fine. There's only way too many for me to eat in one sitting, and I wouldn't even want to try. I would die. When he comes back, I will ask him these questions.
How many are there?
She has two huge questions for Brett.
Yeah, no, I meant how many cupcakes.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 24.
That's what I thought. So 24 cupcakes. No, she's not eating them all. Even
Ew! No, I wouldn't eat the chocolate. I would only have 12.
as I was about to say, even half is too much.
So what do they taste like?
These?
Yeah,
Strawberry.
give me a couple.
Okay, he's in the car now.
There's questions for you.
Jen has 2 huge questions for you, but
What?
she has not asked them yet, so when she asks them, I will ask you.
I'm here.
Yes, I told her that already.
So was it bad? Other
What?
than standing in line.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me, and I was like, was what bad?
They're only.
Oh. No, that is the cupcakes. They are right on my lap. So, yeah. That is what's squeaking.
Dad, they made it illegal.
What?
What?
Salt
Eat
Lake.
candy.
They made it illegal for more than 10 people to be together at once.
They kinda
Well, our
did
family's
purposely.
outlawed.
You mean extended?
Yes. Our family is outlawed. Oh, that was fun. You went through a puddle.
I don't know that it's technically
So has she
illegal,
asked her
but
question
in
yet?
public, yes.
No. Okay, yes. Do you live your wife and stepchildren?
What?
You live your wife and stepchildren? I'll give you a guess what the live was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Love. Yeah, I love them.
She was like, ugh.
Why do you think I left her out here streaming while I went and stood in line for an hour and a half, Jen?
So we did not have to. Thank you very much.
Hour and a half.
To
Wait.
reduce the risk that would get sick.
Yes. Yeah, she was like, love, not live. Face palm.
Keep it autocorrect.
We did not get a fortress yet. You might want to go straight and get to the
I need to go finish that stream I was watching.
What tree?
Evelyn and Jack's girlfriend, she was playing a search and find St. Patty's Day thing the other day, and it was really cool. It was where leprechauns were evil, and they like made these toys that like hypnotized the children, and I didn't find out what happened, and I need to go finish watching the stream.
I guess we're going into this fortress here.
I shall eat a cupcake while we're doing this, so Brett can play Mom's phone. Or Brett can play Brett's phone, and Mom can play Mom's phone.
Can I get... Oh, yeah, you plugged it into a different one, so I can.
Because I was getting pissed at your cord being back there.
And Jen says it's been illegal for a while now. Okay, then, Brett, number 2. Why do you not do the precautionary stuff that Sky wants you to do to reduce the risk of them getting sick from your work?
Precautionary like what?
Like, wash your hands as soon as you walk in the door.
Not as soon as I walk in, but I do wash my hands because I use hand sanitizer when I left the plant.
Hand sanitizer don't work.
And change your clothes.
I don't do that either.
Yeah, but with his work, if he were to change as soon as he got home, it would reduce the risk also. I'm going in 4.
Ruins Chamber 4.
Mm-hmm.
I am going in Rainbow.
I am going in 1, just by myself.
I'm saying Rainbow because on the cupcakes there's a rainbow
There's
cream thingy.
Give me a chocolate cupcake.
Sure, you can have your disgusting chocolate.
Chocolate cupcakes are good.
Disgusting. Have your disgustingness.
But even if you use hand sanitizer right as you're leaving, if you were to use it when you first got home and or wash your hands, preferably wash your hands, it would be better off.
Oh, well.
And as you know, your friend is changing her clothes in the garage, even.
Your friend, Donna?
She's a nurse. She's at the hospital dealing with the COVID.
Yeah, but how long until it hits your work?
They're trying to keep it out of work.
You know they're not going to be able to.
Yeah, they were trying to keep it out of schools. Guess what? They closed down.
So I kept them out of schools. Just.
Well, you made me feel good. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
I'm beating up the one thing I hate. Stupid spiders.
Yeah, because you didn't leave it for me.
Okay, I'm done. You know your cat
I think
eats
that's
spiders
enough
too,
for now.
Wendy's, right?
They all do?
Yeah. Cloud's hilarious when he comes up to it, just like...
No, because you guys didn't dine at any inns for me.
I'm kidding.
Yep, you can
I
blame-
wasn't playing your phone.
I gotta have
I'm
2
glad
inns
you
and we're done.
checked. I'm glad you checked.
Also, they answered your question, Brett. They
What?
gave you the numbers.
What?
I don't know. Someone was messaging you.
Oh, Johnny Kelly.
Sure. I thought you were going to say Johnny Cash, and I was like, yeah, sure.
Johnny Cash is dead. If Johnny Cash answered me, I'd be like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's what I was like, yeah, sure, Brett.
I'd be like, wait a minute. What's going on here now? This is creeping me out.
What, are you afraid of this little ghost visiting you?
I will become friends with this ghost. Then we can scare Brett together.
I'd be joining him as ghost number 2. Because I have a heart attack. And Mindy would have to plan my funeral.
I think if he had an ability to contact Johnny Cash, he would be very rich because because so many people would want to ask for messages transferred.
That's correct.
You'll be rich if you quit your job.
Yeah, there wouldn't
have COVID.
be a worry about. Just a minute and I'll read that to him.
COVID instead of COVID-19. It's so much easier saying COVID-19.
I heard a delivery tip for when you get packages. Put isopropyl alcohol in a spray bottle. When you get a package, spray down where you're going to open it and do all this outside, including
Nope,
opening.
Not doing that with my package that's coming. It's a microphone. It is electrical. I'm not getting electrical without.
In a box, Mindy. You wouldn't get electrical wet. Get the electrical wet. You just get the box wet.
That's what they say.
The next
It
thing...
is double boxed as well. I forgot that.
Well, Brad, if you really loved your family, like you say, you would say you do, I would think you'd do whatever was necessary to help keep them safe.
He doesn't have enough clothes to do that. Pants.
Correct.
Specifically pants. Unless he wants me to go to Jade's every day. Or every other day to wash his pants.
Well, he could have a pair for at home and a pair for at work.
True.
Plus, whose fault is it he doesn't have more?
Is nothing. I have more pants than him now.
Which is pretty saying something. Because someone's picky.
And the other is not.
And I've only told him to get more how many times?
Command guy.
Well, you wore off on me.
The alcohol also evaporates, so you don't need to worry
Correct.
about getting the box wet.
Correct. Alcohol evaporates.
Yes, work
relatively
pants and
quickly.
home everyday pants.
Now, is this just like peroxide alcohol or like actual alcohol that you guys would have to buy?
The isopropyl.
Rubbing alcohol, Mindy.
I was somewhat confused as to why actual alcohol was used.
Rubbing alcohol.
Actual alcohol would too, but would be a lot more expensive.
A lot more potent, stinky-wise. I cannot stand the smell of alcohol.
I hate it when people at the hotel dump it into sinks, or we have to dump it in the sinks, and then it smells like rotten grossness
What?
while you're
And there was
cleaning
Uncle
it.
Doug that didn't think alcohol was too fat.
Oh yeah, I might. That
Yeah.
I'll always remember that.
Hmm?
That didn't go out.
Uncle Doug and he burnt down the clubhouse.
Oh.
And the tree! Don't forget about the tree!
And the tree, yeah, I came on home that afternoon.
Better tell the story, because I know
I'm
they
gonna
don't.
tell you a story, Jen. Okay, we had an old clubhouse my parents built a long, long time ago in a tree house. It was falling down, and my uncle wanted to get rid of it. My dad consented. My dad and us went to a baptism that morning. Came on home. The baptism was in Saratoga Springs. So we went there, came on home from it, and I went down to check to see how bad the clubhouse was because I know my dad told me my uncle was going to burn down that old clubhouse. Okay, found out that he suffered severe burns all across his body because he dumped a whole bunch of rubbing alcohol onto the floor of all this dry wood or whatever and lit a match, and it caught him on fire too. So he burned himself pretty good, but then I went down, I looked, and I saw flames coming out of the hollow of a tree, like,
Crap! That's
crap!
not supposed to happen.
We got a problem! I went to go knock on his door. He came to the door. You know the tree is on fire? I said, no, it's not. I made sure everything was on. No! Trust me, the tree is on fire right now, and it's got flames shooting out, going towards the ground.
This is
So,
in a very wooded and grassy area.
He
by the
grabbed
way.
he grabbed his garden hose, came on as long as he could, garden hose, putting it out, and his wife came on out. His wife saw it and busted up laughing. Doug, you're not gonna put that out with a garden hose! She called the fire department. The fire department ended up bringing out a huge chainsaw bar, and cutting down the tree and putting it out. But there's no way they would, without the fire department there, he could have done a lot of damage down there. So that's my story of alcohol related to a fire.
You told me the story of how you almost burnt down the basement.
Caden, I don't recall that one. That was going to have to be your aunt that tells you that.
You were the one who told me the story!
The one with the trash can fire.
All I remember is trying to clean out the stove, being helpful when I was 5 years old.
And he put it in a plastic trash can.
My older sister is the one that remembers that really well.
The alcohol, let's see. Gina on RFH did say or vodka, but the CDC website said that no, vodka doesn't work.
Why? Vodka is extremely alcoholic.
Maybe it doesn't destroy the membrane right. Because what happens is it destroys the membrane the cell membrane, so that's what allows it to kill it.
I can see that where I read that vodka's potato-based alcohol.
So the tried to burn the basement down, if you didn't hear, he was 5 years old. He decided to help clean out the wood stove that was downstairs. And he put the ashes in a plastic trash can. And I will give you one guess what happened to the plastic trash can.
From my sister's story, I remember her telling this. My brother ran upstairs, grabbed a cup of water, and she was upstairs, oldest sister. You know the rules, we can't take anything downstairs. No food or drink. The trash can's on fire! And my sister, she realized what he was saying and ran downstairs in panic, picked it up and ran it outside as fast as she could.
Yeah, I can see Uncle Scott saying that.
Yeah.
So it's a different type of alcohol, I think, and so I am right, she said. And then she said it is a Russian vodka is potato based.
Yep, I knew that.
And then her response with the I'm sure you can guess what happened is it melted?
Yeah.
Yeah, Daphne said grandma pulled up right there.
Yep. My dad was an LDS bishop at the time. And
I didn't get that cooking detail.
Yeah, so he remembers between a little bit of what he did and then the stories he's heard.
that's basically how I remember the stories from my sister. My older sister, she has photographic memory. She can remember anything.
I don't think you'd need a photographic memory to remember that. I'm sure Mindy
she remembers every little detail.
I'm sure Mindy remembers exactly what happened, why we heard the story the first time.
With the rock? Please,
it
drop
wasn't
the
the rock.
rock.
No, why we heard the trash can story the first time. Do you remember, Mindy?
Wasn't that because David and Chrissy did it too?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, David and Chrissy did.
David and Chrissy were playing with, I think they were lighting spaghetti on fire or something. Threw it in the trash can.
No, paper napkins.
Paper napkins, okay. I knew they were lighting something on fire. Couldn't remember what.
They were what?
And then blowing them out and dropping them in the trash can. And it did the same thing.
It backfired on them and stayed on fire.
And so then they had to get it out, and they were feeling horrible. Luckily, it was winter. I ran it out and threw it in the snow. But they were feeling horrible. So Brett told